Hey guys, Sean here, and welcome to the first F1 launch reaction of 2026. Yes, even though we are just 2 weeks into the new year, we've had our first glimpse of the sport's new era as Red Bull and Racing Bull showed off their liveries for the upcoming season. Now, super quickly, nice disclaimer here, I'm calling these livery or season launches this year because even those teams who say they are launching their cars won't be showing off their actual final 2026 machines until well into testing, and possibly not even until the first race weekend. So there is absolutely no point going over show cars or early drafts or renders of these designs with a fine-tooth comb, because they will change massively in the coming weeks and of course over the course of the season. And just to be clear, I will not be doing individual videos for every team. I'll probably club teams together in a few videos. Oh, and by the way, stick around until later in the video because the Red Bull teams weren't the only ones to show off a livery this week, and things are already getting spicy between two manufacturers. But anyway, with that out of the way, should we talk about these liveries? We'll start with Red Bull, and if you thought it would be just the same livery from the last few years on a show car, you'd be wrong. Well, half wrong, it is an FOM show car, but the livery has changed, and straight away I have to say, wow, does this look good. The RB22 livery was revealed at an event in Detroit and is inspired by the team's original look in F1 and features what they call a heritage white base, which the gloss paint will provide more depth and clarity to, allowing the iconic Sun and Bull logo to pop with cleaner edges and stronger colour saturation. I love some of the blurb we get from teams this time of year. All in all, I think it looks fantastic and really does remind me of those early years, but also more specifically, those Sebastian Vettel title-winning years. It's almost Infinity Red Bull-like, just without the purple, if that makes sense. I was also really pleased to read in the press release that the gloss paint wasn't just for the launch and is sticking around. I know the matte finish is lighter and I totally understand why teams use it, but F1 cars look so much better with a glossy finish. Ferrari, take note. The teamwear, by the way, looks great too, albeit slightly Toro Rosso-esque. Probably the lighter blue reminding me of their old livery, to be fair. One other thing, and I know it really doesn't matter, but it looks so weird seeing the number 3 on there and knowing Daniel Ricciardo isn't racing. But in case you missed it over the very brief winter off-season, Max Verstappen will be running the number 3 going forward, having chosen not to revert to the number 33 after missing out on the title last season. As for sister team Racing Bulls, I would call their livery an evolution of last year's, in the sense that they've stuck with the white but mixed it up a bit, which is fine, by the way, because last year's RB livery was one of my favourites on the whole grid, so very happy to see them largely stick with it. The official press release explains that again they have stuck with the white base for this season, but that has been enhanced with a nod to its partnership with Ford, the release adding, quote, "Sleek blue accents now trace the contours of the chassis, elevating the design with a sharper, more streamlined finish." There's more blue bits on it this year. Basically, it looks great though. And no, it's not just hype because these are the first 2 full-time liveries we've seen in 2026. But I think Red Bull has knocked it out of the park this year with both new paint jobs. And it's good, by the way, to see Isack, Hadjar and Arvid Lindblad in their new gear too. And although I won't be going over the cars in any technical detail, I will say that based on the show cars at the event and the renders we've seen so far, the overall look of the new cars is pretty cool. They aren't much smaller than the previous era, but in my view anyway, they are noticeably smaller, and some of the details around the car, particularly the front wing for some reason, look really cool, and I can't wait to see the real things out on track. They look good, but how will they affect the racing? That is the biggest and most important question. It is also worth a quick mention that prior to the launch, head of Red Bull Powertrains Ben Hodgkinson rejected claims that its 2026 engine could be illegal. This all goes back to the allegations around compression rates, which I briefly covered in my Things I'm Excited For video last week. Hodgkinson saying the regulations are super clear about what is allowed and was absolutely adamant the team has stuck to the regulations. He even went as far as to say that in his view, and I will quote him here, any engineer worth their salt who doesn't understand thermal expansion does not belong in this sport, does not belong as an engineer. Expect this one to rumble on over the coming weeks. The FIA calling all manufacturers to a meeting on the 22nd of January after receiving a letter from Audi, Ferrari and Honda asking for clarity, as they believe any engine that runs with a higher compression ratio than the allowed 16:1 could well be illegal. Before I disappear for today, these aren't the only liveries we've seen so far this year, because earlier this week, Cadillac unveiled a one-off testing livery for the Barcelona test, which takes place the week commencing the 26th of January. Yes, that's right. Caddy has released a special livery for a test nobody is going to be able to watch. The team says the look is distinct from the official race livery and showcases a bold yet disciplined design created specifically for the demands of pre-season development, going on to explain that, of course, in F1, testing liveries traditionally help mask aerodynamic details while still expressing brand identity. And snarky comments from me aside, the car will be on display at the Detroit Auto Show until the 25th of January for anyone who wants to go and see it in the flesh. It may not be the real livery on a real car, but I'm actually quite a big fan of this look, and with some sponsors I think it would make for a great 2026 livery. Maybe it's just me, but the logo in chrome across the engine cover looks really smart, and having all the team member names on the car is a really nice touch too. Interested to hear your thoughts on what colours Cadillac will go with when they launch their actual livery. I'm honestly not sure, but it would be nice to see some yellow back on the grid. And finally, as I've covered Ford and Cadillac today, it is well worth a mention that this long-running rivalry is already getting tasty, despite the fact we've yet to see a single F1 battle take place between them on track. Now, when comparing General Motors' involvement in F1 to Ford's, Dan Tauris made it clear that he feels the two are totally different and described the Red Bull Ford partnership as a marketing deal with very minimal impact, whereas GM is an equity owner in the Cadillac F1 team and are deeply embedded from an engineering standpoint, and they were involved from day one. Those two deals couldn't be more different. Those are his words. However, Ford told The Athletic that when he saw the remarks from Tauris, he was stunned and started laughing, calling it patently absurd. He added, quote, "I would say actually the reverse is true. They are running a Ferrari engine. They are not running a Cadillac engine. I don't know if they have any GM employees on the race team," before going on to dismiss the claims that the manufacturer's deal with Red Bull is just a marketing arrangement. I know it's not that big of a deal, and unless Cadillac have nailed the regulations or Red Bull and Ford have got them completely wrong, we are unlikely to see too much battling between them this year. But I'm mentioning it because, although this is a long-running rivalry, it is so nice to see a bit of needle between them in F1 already. I love racing, don't get me wrong, but this sort of thing is something I enjoy too, so bring it on. That is it for this one then, but let me know down in the comments what you made of the Red Bull team's liveries and Cadillac's one-off paint job. And on your way down there, please do leave a like on the video and consider subscribing too so you don't miss any future content. Things will really start to ramp up now we're pretty much into pre-season. But as ever, thank you for watching. I've been Formula Sean, and until next time, goodbye.